I want to hear like a little bit of backstory because you're a DevRel.
I will suggest that the people that get into crypto start the other way, not in my way that was kind of trading and buying Dogecoin and then losing money and then learning. But if you can start with the education first, then you will save money and you will also save time.
Hello, darlings. Welcome to the Digital Asset Show on Popcentral TV 189. I am your one and only host, Purity Chrome. As usual, I know it's a little bit tough today because you guys didn't see me on the regular timing. You must have missed me as I have. Obviously, I always do. I always miss you. All right. I hope your week was great and your weekend has been awesome and smooth. We are on and bullish for content and activities and stuff that has been happening in the crypto space. There are a lot of things packed up for you today, but we would ensure to see if we can put it all in with maximum effort. So first up, we're going to take a look at what has been happening during the week, right? So a lot of stuff happened during the week. There was an issue with the Binance executive that you know of. He has been on hold for a very long time. You guys know the issue that the Nigerian government apparently filed charges against him and his colleague for, fraud and money laundering of some large amounts of money. But apparently, they only caught one person. There were two, but only one was caught and was held for a long period of time. There was different drama and different push and pull. With Nigeria, we have a lot of politics and behind the door dealings, but it's one thing that me and Chek would always say. You cannot be operating in Nigerian soil and you don't have proper setups for your company or your brand, especially when it has to do with crypto, right? Even talking about that, of recent, the Security Exchange, which is SEC, had an event where they, held infos for businesses that are looking to break into the Nigerian space, and they talked about compliance, taxation for the blockchain and crypto space. So we will be looking into that going forward. But need I tell you, on our last show, I hinted that we're going to be having someone on today's episode who is a developer relations and an expert in what he does. He is the first ever developer to have done an African tour teaching and training people along blockchain technology and Web3, helping them build real-life use case scenario products on the blockchain. And I had the opportunity to liaise with him on one of the hackathons, which was Eat Accra. And following conversation, I was able to pull him and bring him here to the show for you guys. Although virtual, don't worry, the next time, hopefully it's going to be physical. So I'm going to be bringing it up now on the show. I'm going to have a brief conversation with him about his store, his experience in Africa, and essentially what he does in the whole, and going forward, what we would hope to receive from him, especially in the African markets. So without further ado, drum roll, 1 minute. Make welcome Mr. Santiago Trujillo. I don't know if I pronounced your name right. Oh God, I hope I did. Please, did I get your name properly? If I didn't, could you do us the honor of reintroducing yourself to our viewers so they could know who you are exactly?
Santiago is fine. And thank you so much, Purity, for that lovely intro. I really appreciate that you invited me today. I was the first developer relations and doing a Web3 Africa tour, but hopefully not the last one. I'm already thinking about 2025.
All right, awesome. So I would want to hear from you briefly, right? Because we have limited time, but we'll try to make the best of it. You obviously have introduced yourself. So tell us, what is your role as a DevRel professional in Web3.js, I believe, and ChainSafe?
Okay, so ChainSafe itself is a research and development company from Canada, right? But then Web3.js is a JavaScript library, like a product in Ethereum, and it's the oldest public good of Ethereum. And what Web3.js does is basically allowing developers to interact with the blockchain So my role as a developer relations is just having more adoption of the product, having more developers using the product in general. And that's why I was doing this Africa tour, because I think like in Africa, there is like a lot of potential, a lot of engagement. And I was like, we want developers, we want people getting into the Ethereum ecosystem. And that was like a really good way to get that. So yeah, my main goal as a developer relations and in general, all the developer relations or developer advocates, developer evangelists, or you name it, the main goal is always getting adoption of their product. So that's also my main goal as a Web3.js developer relations, to just get more adoption in the Ethereum ecosystem.
All right, awesome. That's very on point. So I want to hear like a little bit of backstory, because you're a DevRel, and I believe for you to be a developer relations, you obviously started somewhere, probably as a developer building products and stuff before you transition to the position you're currently in, which is for me one of leadership, right? Because you help bring other people into the space. So how did your journey start? How did it evolve? Just quickly.
Yeah, so you're right. I think there are two different paths. When you are a developer and then you get into marketing and then you become a DevRel, or when you are a marketing person, then you learn coding and then you become a DevRel too. In my specific case, I was none of those. Like I never studied any marketing or I never studied any coding, but then 2 years ago, I started learning programming. I started learning JavaScript. Then after that, everything was with YouTube videos. So everything was like online. Then after I learned JavaScript, I jumped into Solidity. Solidity is the smart contract language that you can use in all the Ethereum blockchains to develop these smart contracts. And that's how I got started in the tech side, right? But then in crypto specifically, I discovered crypto because of Dogecoin. Dogecoin, like 3 years ago, I bought some like $50. Then it went up like 5 times, and I was like, okay, what is this crypto thing? Then that's how I got started. But then I started learning Solidity and all the tech side of crypto once I fall into a scam. I was like in a play to earn game. Then that was like a rug pull, so that was like a scam, and I lost like $500, and I was like, wow, I was so depressed. But that was like a good point. That was like a pivot point in my life where I was like, okay, now I want to learn how this thing works, because I don't want to fall into more scams, and I think the technology sounds interesting. So thanks to that scam, that was like a little push that crypto gave me to learn the programming itself. And then now I'm here today, thanks to Dogecoin scams. And yeah, sadly it was a scam, but yeah, everything was great.
Noted. It's the Dogecoin scam for me. So you see that irrespective, right? In this space, I think everybody has had some wins and some losses. It's what we actually talk about on this show. It's blockchain technology and being like, in the crypto space is not all roses and I don't know, chocolates and whatnot. It's not all sweet, right? There are tough times and then there are good times. It's just know how to structure your investment. 1, 2, do your own due diligence. You heard from his story that like after his experience of being scammed, he really wanted to find out how the technology works to really structure himself, and hence that's how he deviated into being a DevRel. So you could start from one end, you could start with actually trading and then end up finding out that you want to know how the technology works, and scale into the line of blockchain education and learn and actually start building projects instead of just, trading in the space. There are a whole lot of aspects to blockchain technology.
Sorry, let me interrupt you here. A little disclaimer that I want to say. I will suggest that the people that get into crypto start the other way. Not in my way that was kind of trading and buying Dogecoin and then losing money and then learning. But if you can start with the education first, then you will save money and you will also save time. So yeah, that's like a little advice.
Yeah, see, good advice. Take it. Start from the education space. This is why we're here, to educate you so that you don't lose money, right? So you don't go through the experiences we have. All right. So the next question, you recently completed your African tour. You visited, I think, about 4 or 5 African countries: Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, and Uganda. And you trained a whole lot of people as regards building with Web3.js and Chain Safe. So from your experience, what did you notice? Did you notice any regional difference or level of interest of engagement as regards to technology across these countries?
Okay, so yeah, okay, I have a question first. How many time we have? How much time we have? Just to know how
Okay.
long should I be in the answers?
All right. We still got like roughly 40 minutes ish, 40 thereabouts. So just,
Oh, okay.
yeah, make your,
Okay, then that's
answers like maybe 1 minute ish.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. Thanks for letting me know because yeah, I can't say 20 seconds answer or 5 minutes answer. So yeah, I prefer to know. So for the Africa tour, I would say that everything in the beginning started in Ghana. So I started in Ghana in August. I was there for 1 week and a half. Then I went to Nigeria 1 week and a half. Then I stayed in Kenya like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I went to Uganda for 2 weeks. And then I finalized in a weekend in Kenya. So in terms of the regionality and everything, I always tell to people that Nigeria is the best country to work, but I would say that Kenya is the best to live. Because Kenya is a little bit, I would say, easier in terms of maybe even traffic. Like when you want to move from one place to another one, you don't need to suffer like in Lagos, right? Like my experience in Lagos was amazing in terms of work. Like all the people, all the developers, they were like really engaged. They were attending all the workshops. They were really smart. So in terms of the Web3 work, I will say that Nigeria is the best. People also are a little bit more, I would call it in a really healthy and good way, aggressive. And that's really good because when you are there teaching, you want people to be aggressive. You want people to attack you with questions, to attack you with more things that they want to learn, like what is next and things like that. So I really love that about Nigeria. I think that Ghana and Uganda, maybe Uganda is getting started. They don't have like a really strong community. They have a strong community, but it's not really big. Kenya is really good too. I would say Kenya is maybe in the second place. Nigeria is first because of all the developers, and Ghana is catching up there too. There was like a strong community in Ghana too. But yeah, that was like overall my experience with these four countries.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Nigerians, take notes. We're giving compliments. A and plus for you. All right. Your next question
Yeah, I'm being
is.
honest.
Okay, fair. He's being honest. Your next question is, okay, for someone who is looking to start fresh, building, I think Web3 GS is kind of like a library, right? So for a developer who is looking to start fresh, what advice would you give to them?
Okay, so that depends on what is the starting point, right? So if you are getting started and you are, let's say, a Web2 developer, I would say that the best is to start learning the blockchain fundamentals. So once you learn the blockchain fundamentals and you know how everything works, maybe the next step is to find a niche. And that niche can be, let's say, front-end development or smart contract development or gaming or DeFi or whatever. But if you can find a niche in the Web3 ecosystem and you can specialize in that, you will be really valuable. So that's something that I noticed now with the time after like almost 2 years and a half, is that when you specialize in something, you are more valuable than if you know a lot of little things, right? So after you find that niche, just go all in into that, and at some point you will get a job. That's 100%, that's guaranteed. But yeah, just start with the basics. Why blockchain is useful. So you should actually learn about what are the use cases, or what is this decentralization? What is this decentralized and distributed network of nodes? What is all these things? So when you learn all of this, you are able to connect with the blockchain, let's say, values and community, because the Web3 ecosystem is really community driven. So if you're able to connect genuinely with the community, that will help you a lot to just keep going, to attend conferences and everything. So yeah, first, learn the basics, connect with the community, find a niche, and specialize in that niche. Go all in into that.
Awesome. Thank you. I hope you guys took note of that. He mentioned, ensuring that you find a niche, ensure that you know the basics of how the technology functions, especially if you're like a Web2 developer that's looking to transition into Web3. You have to know the basics first, then find a niche to specialize in, and then network and communicate in your community. Ensure you join a community, right? I think those are like one of the basic takes. Okay.
Yeah, let me actually add something there. This happened to me actually almost 2 years ago. When I was trying to get my first job, I focused so much on the coding side, and I was like, okay, I want to make an application, I want to make this app and whatever. So when I had my first, I don't know if that was my first interview, when I had an interview that I was for an internship that I was like really serious, they asked me some basic questions of blockchain basics, and I didn't know the answer. And I was like, oh, okay. I was focusing a lot into smart contracts and JavaScript and the front end that I forgot the actual like blockchain basics. They asked me for an EIP, I don't remember, 1155, and I don't remember what that time that was something about the tokens, and I didn't know that, but that was like a basic that I should know. So yeah, if you have a really strong basics, that will just leverage and help you to skyrocket your Web3 career.
Yeah, true. Agreed. You must know the basic. I very, very much agree with that. All right. So next, your perspective. So obviously in Africa, there's a lot of challenges for developers that they face while they are trying to, learn. So for you, from your perspective, you have visited some of these African countries. What have you seen are some of the biggest challenges that the African countries face when it comes to learning and adopting Web3 technology?
Okay, so for the learning part, I think there is no challenges. To be honest, I noticed that after being in Africa, there is no challenges at all for learning, because you can learn. There are a lot of different, like now, schools in Africa, like Web3 Bridge. I forgot this other one, Guild Audits, I think is the name of that one. Also in Kenya, in Ghana, there are like a lot of resources, and also not in person, but also online. Everything is on YouTube. As long as you have access to the internet, which normally almost everyone has in Nigeria, there are no learning excuses. I think if you really want to learn, you can just get it. So in terms of learning opportunities, I think we have equal opportunities from Latin America, Africa, Europe, and the US. We are all in the same position of learning, which is amazing. Because also if you learn a lot being in Africa or being in Europe, there is no difference. Like the knowledge is there, and that's something that I really like about Web3. But it doesn't matter where you're from, where you're located. So yeah, and in terms of the adopting, I would say that there can be a little bit more challenges sometimes. It can be a little bit more tricky. You were saying about the Binance executives in the beginning, and that's the thing. Things like that kind of makes you a little bit like scared, like, okay, should we explore Nigeria? Should we go to Nigeria? What if I go to jail or things like that, right? So yeah, in terms of adoption, it's a little bit tricky sometimes. But then from the other and positive side, I see a lot of good applications already going on. Like for example, with all this community of Base or also Silo, Base, Lisk, they are doing a lot of incubator programs, a lot of teaching and business development in Africa that I see a lot of adoption too. Something that I think it can be leveraged in Africa is the mobile payment system. Like everyone is used to have this mobile payment system, and that's basically like having a wallet in crypto. So if somehow you're able to teach people that crypto is the same as having your M-Pesa, your Momo or whatever, then it would be really easy for the adoption. But yeah, in terms of politics, that's a little bit out of my scope. I don't really know about politics, but yeah, in terms of opportunities, I think that there is like a lot of things to do in Africa. Yeah.
Okay. Fair. I would second with you. Yes. When it comes to the politics back end of how things are run and when it comes to adoption of blockchain, it's a little bit dicey, but let me assure you that steps are actually being taken, because earlier this week, the SEC, which is Security Exchange Commission of Nigeria, held a summit with the NCMI, which is the National Capital Market Institute. It was a compliance summit where they had a lot of discussion that had to do with taxation, had to do with regulations and stuff in the blockchain space, because they understand that this is a technology that, without a doubt, it's going to thrive whether they like it or not. So it's either to connect and play along to ensure that, people that are looking to break into the market have it easy for them. So definitely in Nigeria, we are taking steps to, fix that. And don't be too scared. See, the Binance executive has been released nonetheless.
And something that you say that makes a lot of sense, and also just made me realize that in Web3, there are a lot of opportunities for everyone. Like not only for developers, maybe developers at this point are really on demand, right? But there are also in the politics who are making these policies, right? Like all the politics, they should know something about crypto. So even if you're a lawyer and then you learn crypto, that should be helpful at some point. If you are an accountant and then you learn crypto, then at some point when all the taxes and everything comes in the laws, then that will be useful too. So I think we are really early in terms of opportunities. So even if you're a product manager, a marketing, business developer, accountant, lawyer, you can still make it, right? Like you just learn crypto, learn the basics, blockchain, and at some point you will land that job. So yeah, I think that's something really good about the ecosystem, that there are opportunities for everyone coming.
Yeah. I very much agree. Opportunities for everyone, including my wonderful teammates who are behind scenes, making everything happen, ensuring that we're live, ensuring that everything is connected and the network is clear. Yeah. Shout out to you guys. You guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you. All right. So moving on, next question. So obviously you've also handled the opportunities on the flip side. So let's look at skills. So I think you've also covered this. You mentioned when it comes to someone who is looking to break into the space that they had to, ensure that they know the basics, ensure they connect in communities and pick a niche and stick to it. So I think that covers it though. But could you also hint on specifics? Because I believe you spoke about you being a Solidity developer earlier on when you were about to start, right? So specific on like technical skills, is there any particular language that a developer needs to learn to ensure they're able to transition, especially when it comes for Web3.js?
Yeah, perfect. So let me actually go back for the opportunities one. I wanna add something there. There are a lot of opportunities in Africa, and what you need to do is just research or ask. Sometimes we don't know, but there are things there that we didn't know. You just need to ask, you just need to research, and you will find something. So there are a lot of grants programs and incubator programs in Africa. You just need to research, but for sure there will be something. If you have a business idea, then you are not a developer. Maybe you go to an incubator and then they can provide the developers. So yeah, that was to complement the opportunities question. And then for the skills, yeah, I think there are some things that you can learn. So for the tech skills, the main thing that I think is the most important is JavaScript. I think JavaScript is the base of everything. Like to do a smart contract, you don't need JavaScript, you need Solidity. But I think JavaScript is useful for everything, even for testing the smart contracts, so integrating the front end with the smart contracts, or just getting any backend or whatever. So JavaScript is the base of everything. If you know JavaScript, you're 80% into Web3. And of course, if you use Web3.js, you need to know JavaScript, not Solidity. So yeah, I think JavaScript is the most important thing. And then after that, Solidity.
Okay.
But then for Solidity, there are also different paths that you can take, like a security researcher or maybe DeFi. So yeah, as I said before, after you learn the basics of Solidity, try to look into something. And then the best thing that I will advise for Solidity is going to do our audits. Like if you are really good as a Solidity smart contract developer and you can do audits, that would be really good.
All right, awesome.
And then after that, maybe I have the last things for soft skills. So soft skills are not really necessarily relevant for developers, but if you're able to master communicational skills and networking, that will put you one step above the average developer. So yeah, I would say that for soft skills, that would be really useful for developers too, communication and networking.
Okay, awesome. So to recap, ensure for if you're a dev, you're looking to transition, ensure you have your hands on JavaScript and then Solidity. And for soft skills, ensure you have good communication skills because that will take you a long way. Okay, so we're wrapping up and we're coming to the end of the interview. Your African tour has ended. I want to get your perspective. What are we hoping to see from you? What is on the horizon going forward?
That's a good question. So I will, maybe on my Twitter, I will publish something in 1 week, more or less. But something that I can guarantee right now is that I will be back in Africa. At least I will be back in Kenya in December for holidays, like 1 month. But then after that, I will be at least 3 or 4 months next year in Africa. I can guarantee that. I don't know what I will do, where I will be, but I just know that I will be working, trying to find opportunities, trying to grow the ecosystem, trying to help people to also get into Web3. So that's the one thing that I promise, that I guarantee for next year, at least 3 or 4 months in Africa, trying to find collaboration. So yeah, if you are from an Africa country and you're watching at this, please reach out to me so we can do some exciting collaborations for 2025.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Santiago, for being on here. I appreciate it for you taking your time. Apologies for all the delays. Nonetheless, we got through. When you are in Africa or in Nigeria, definitely for sure, do hit me up. Let's see what we can collaborate on and grow together. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you, Purity. I really appreciate the invitation, and yeah, doesn't matter about the delay. That's fine. Maybe the last thing to close the interview for today, I would like to say that if you don't believe in the Africa ecosystem, you should believe in the Africa developers and Africa adoption.
Okay, I think there was a bit of network hiccups. Anyways, hopefully when he's back in Africa, we will do a retake. Thank you so much, guys. Sadly, time is up. Hopefully by next week, we'll be able to take a review at the events that was held by SEC and NCMI to talk about regulations in Nigeria, which is a big one and very important. See you guys next Saturday, our regular time, I promise, okay? Pinky swear. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, darlings. Mwah, mwah.